Welcome. Welcome to the Lighthouse. And peace to all who enter here in this integrative, meditative practice, collective space that we're in, sharing in 30 minutes of togetherness. And as we've all been sharing and experiencing and processing individually, within our neighborhoods, within our city, within our nation, and within our planet, we are going through a most tumultuous time right now, historically. It's tumultuous, it's trying, but it's also charged with a tremendous caliber of potential for transformation. And in my views, it's our responsibility as practitioners to maximize this transformational trajectory that we have presented to us, and that we have in our laps, and that we have activating in our cellular system, in every system of our being. We are going through the birth contractions of a new we, the birth contractions of a new we, and this is a really big deal. And I want to really harness that as a theme, as a focus, and as a point of activation for our practice today. So when we talk about and when we lean into activating a transformational trajectory, it requires a few things from us as the doers, and as the receivers, and as the projectors. It requires that we put on our hard hats, and that we flip the light on, and that we get really committed at the level of 100% to climbing out of the chasm and to being fresh start specialists. And to not do that, to not feel like we're doing that alone, but to tap into the feeling state, the bandwidth, the fact that we're all doing it together, and that we're helping each other. And this is deep and noble work, and it may feel like we don't always get to be right. It may feel like it's humiliating at times. It may feel like we're being asked to face some of our blind spots, and on, right? It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but part of being a mature practitioner in these kinds of life ways is having a comfortability with being uncomfortable in all kinds of realities, in all kinds of perceptions, and in all kinds of contexts. So it may feel uncomfortable, but the reward in getting committed to putting the hat on, flipping the light on, and taking that leap of faith, taking one step after another, is that we will be beginning the process of retrieving our humanity. That's what's happening right now, on the streets, in our hearts, in every iteration of humanity. And I want to be the voice to remind each and every one of us that that you have what it takes on the inside, that you have what it takes to engage in a really meaningful manner, to use all of the pressurization, to use all the polarization in a powerful, potent way to activate social artistry and to activate social change agency. And so in this week's teachings, I've been unpacking a lot of content momentum around how it has to start locally. It has to start in the center of who we are. Any kind of true change activation begins here, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. If it's going to be in harmony with sustainable systems, and if it's going to be sustainable itself. So we're using the pressurization and we're using the polarization of these crazy times in the context of our practice to become agents of social change. So for myself, when I think about these kinds of things, it can feel like a big runway. Like, oh, holy cats, where do I start? So this week I came across something that I have found to be super inspiring, and I want to share it with you. I love these kinds of things. I love systems, I love maps, I love these kinds of evolutional grids, and this is a map that was put together for the focus and the activation of social change ecosystems. So we are, as a planet, going through a social change in our collective ecosystem. We do that all the time within the Promega organization, and we're doing it as integrative practitioners all the time within the terrain of our individuated being. So this is an amazing map. I'm going to read to you from it for a second before we actually do the physical practice, the meditative practice. This was put together by Deepa Iyer as part of her Solidarity Is project and the Building Movement project, two really powerful projects that she has spearheaded. So what she's persuading, and I agree with her entirely, what she's persuading, again, as I was saying at the beginning, we are in the birth contractions of a new we. So what that means is that a lot of the roles that we have been occupying and inhabiting and orienting in our lives from may be outmoded. They may no longer be the right roles or the most useful roles that we could choose to center ourselves in. So she's mapped out some really amazing old school, new school relevant archetypes that I think are incredible. So I'm going to just name them first, and I want you to see which of these individual words you feel a most potent resonance with. Like you, oh my goodness, this is me. And then I'm going to unpack a little bit longer definition of each of these archetypes so that you can begin to develop some inquiry and some investigation around which new roles you are asking yourself to fulfill and that you may be being asked to fulfill in this transformational trajectory of 2020 that we are in. So she says that there are weavers, there are experimenters, there are frontline responders, visionaries, builders, caregivers, disruptors, healers, storytellers, and guides. And all of these different archetypes, when operating in harmony and in their fullest powerful potential, when we're all contributing to the whole, then what we have is equity, inclusion, liberation, justice, solidarity, resiliency, and interdependency. I like this. So I want, like I said, I want to give you a slightly longer definition, and this print is so totally small. I need my glasses in order to see these words. So the weaver, she says, is I see the through lines of connectivity between people, places, organizations, ideas, and movements. The experimenters are innovators, they're pioneers, they are the inventors. They take risks and they create course corrections as needed. The frontline responders address community crisis by marshaling and organizing resources, networks, and messages. Visionaries imagine and generate the boldest of possibilities, the boldest of hopes and dreams, and they remind us of our direction. The builders develop, organize, and implement ideas, practices, people, and resources in service of a collective vision. The caregivers nurture and nourish the people around them by creating and sustaining a community of care, joy, and connection. The disruptors take uncomfortable and risky actions to shake up the status quo, to raise awareness, and to build power. The healers recognize and tend to the generational and current traumas caused by oppressive systems, institutions, policies, and practices. The storytellers craft and share in their communities the stories, the cultures, the experiences, the histories, and the possibilities through art, music, media, and movement. The guides teach, counsel, and advise by using their gifts of well-earned discernment and wisdom. I hope that you found some sense of place within this map of social change, social ecosystem change. It's my felt sense that when we really optimize all of this transformational trajectory that's presented to us right now, that each of us has the capacity to activate and to to generate, organize, and deliver a little bit from each one of those new archetypes, each one of those new roles, to be a hologrammatic human, to be truly myriad-minded. I believe this to be very possible, and I think that practice helps us most tremendously in that way. So as we begin the practice here in a moment, I want to really encourage you to hold a big space for yourself, to hold a space for your idiosyncrasy, for your authenticity, for all of your diversity, for all of the multiplicity of diversities that are in our incredible world, and how we can have a beginner's mind, how we can develop an eye that is 1,000 eyes, that when we look at another, that we see some semblance of self in another. This is the responsibility that we must, say yes to at the level of 100% as practitioners in this awakening time that we are in. So I want to do a really beautiful practice that is simple and powerful. So this is a sa, ta, na, ma meditation, and I'm going to create the mantra for us to engage in the practice with. So you're going to have a dynamic mudra for this sadhana. You're going to oscillate the thumbs from the index finger through to the pinky finger. So you're pressing in an electrifying way on, go ahead and try this with me. You're going to press in an electrifying way on the index finger, and then on the tip of the middle finger, on the tip of the ring finger, and on the tip of the pinky finger, and then back to the index. So it'll be sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. So when you press on the index finger, this is Gyan Mudra, and this finger, your index finger, is your Jupiter finger, which has to do with knowledge, it has to do with infinity, it has to do with our massive solar system, and it has to do with our longing for belonging. Our longing for belonging, how beautiful is that? And our innate knowledge about how to go about settling into that revelation and reality. So this is Gyan Mudra. So when you press on your middle finger, this is Shuni Mudra, the middle finger, pressing on Shuni. This is all about wisdom and patience, and it has to do with life, and it has to do with existence. And so this middle finger, your middle finger, is your Saturn finger. When you say na, and hopefully you'll be saying these seed sounds with me. I love the seed sound meditations. They're so potent, they're so penetrative, and they're so alchemizing of the pressurization and polarization. So when you press on your ring finger, this is your sun finger, and this is Surya Mudra, and this has to do with vitality and energy of life. Surya Mudra, pressing on the tip of the ring finger, and this has to do, the sound and the mudra have to do with death and change and transformation. We have a lot of those kinds of energies going on. There's death of human life that has been happening with the coronavirus, and there are death of old systems that are happening currently in the world over. And so for our last press, as the thumb, and by the way, your thumb is your ahamkara. This is the eye maker. Your thumb has to do with your ego. So we're passing the I, the me, and the mind through all of these high frequency, high octave privilege points in the map of the body. When the thumb presses on the tip of the pinky finger, this is your Mercury finger, and this is Buddhi Mudra. So I was talking in Tuesday's resiliency session about our Buddhi mind and how we want to be living from the Buddhi mind. So here we have a mudra for activating that, the Buddhi Mudra, and this is all about communication, clarity, and caliber of communication, and it's also the energy of rebirth that helps us trust the cyclicity of nature, okay? So sa, ta, na, ma, and I want you to do that, please, while sitting up straight, and while resting, you can't see my hands the way the camera is positioned, but I have my hands with the palms of the hands facing up. I have my hands on my lap, and I'm going to say sa, ta, na, ma, and keep that going, okay? If you don't want to sound the seed sounds, then you can practice a very deep breathing in through the circle mouth, which we commonly do in IP, and then out of the nostrils. I'm going to sip this beautiful tea. Okay. Let's do this. Satanama, 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 Satanama. Satanama, 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 Knowledge awakening, wisdom and patience awakening, vitality and energy of life awakening, communication refined, knowledge awakening, wisdom and patience awakening, vitality of life awakening, communication refined, infinity, life, death, rebirth, infinity and life, death, rebirth, inhale, all the way down to the bottom of the substratum, and exhale, ahimsa gap breathing. Inhale, hold on to it, in no certain hurry, practicing the art of staying the course. And now, exhale, all the way to zero. Pause in emptiness, shunya, shunya. Let the breath come back to neutral. So you know, at the beginning I was talking about becoming more comfortable with being uncomfortable. You know, as human beings, for whatever reason, for all kinds of reasons, countless reasons, we have this longing, we have this desire and this devotion to wearing some kind of armor of certainty. And it's our relationship with meditation that empowers us to show up without that armor of certainty. To be in undefended presence, which again may mean that it might hurt, that it might be humiliating, that it might reveal our blind spots, but it always means that we're participating very actively, very wholeheartedly, and most importantly, honestly. We are honestly participating in the retrieval of our humanity. This is very important right now. So I want to leave you with a couple of questions to ask yourself with respect to these new roles in a social change ecosystem. Perhaps you may find it useful to ask yourself, what is my role? What are my roles right now? What do I wish to learn about more so? What do I want to learn about more so in order to occupy and inhabit and activate these new roles? What kind of people, situations, contexts, circumstances should I be surrounding myself with in order to make this a reality? And then in the larger scope, this last question is, in order for change to happen in our community, so that's our Omega community, in our Madison community, in our global community, in order for change to happen in our community, what kind of people do we need more of? And I want to name these archetypes again before I set you free. We need weavers. We need experimenters. We need frontline responders. We need visionaries. We need builders. We need caregivers. We need disruptors. We need healers. We need storytellers. need guides. So it's my wish for you that today you will endeavor into getting to know the part of you that is all of those things. The part of you that's growing into being more of those things. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope that the Satanama meditation really centered you in a rich and resonant place within your physical being. And I wish you a most remarkable day. I look so forward to tuning in with you tomorrow. Sat Nam. Namaste.